Well, now I am. So.
Oh, and we can talk about.
Well, we're on the spot right now.
Oh,
we're going.
Yeah,
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 258.
One of the things.
Of opinions.
Sorry,
we're legit going.
Yeah.
Of opinions may vary. That's my new thing now. I'm imitating Joe Rogan, in that like I'll start recording, but like, oh hey, the intro's not quite there yet, and now we're starting. What's up?
Nerdist does that too.
Does he do that?
Oh yeah.
We're just ripping off everyone.
Whenever Chris Hardwick has a guest on, like they just start. Someone hits play. And they never tell the guest when, and they just keep talking like it's conversation.
I've been recording for 12 minutes. Just kidding. This is episode 250 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, Jared. My co-host, Alex.
Hello.
What?
Joining us this week? Well, I want to get right into the meat this week. I'm just really excited.
The juicy meat.
I haven't seen you in a long time. I missed the last time you were on, John.
I know. That was a fun one.
I was not Halloween here.
One. Did you listen to
it?
You
got way up on my mic.
I know. That was really funny. We were talking about all sorts of Halloween stuff. My Halloween though was very, very shitty. I was at work and I felt a little depressed because I was usually scaring people. But anyway, that's a downer.
I took niece trick or treating.
That's great. I love that.
I didn't have to work that night, and I put on my Mandarin robe, and I have those 2-inch long flashlights, the LED ones.
Yeah.
And I put those in my wristbands, like my sweat wristbands. Mm-hmm. And I was a wizard who was casting fireball.
Oh, that's amazing.
Take it.
With my Mandarin robe.
I was miserable and studying and hating every moment of my life.
Right.
But that part is over.
Yay.
It's the excuse me. That's why I had to miss. That's why I had to miss an episode, was because I was so busy with new job stuff. But that's done. It's over with. Water under the metaphorical bridge. Yes. John is with us this week, and I am so excited. I need to get like a soundboard sometime.
Yeah, or just an air horn.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll just get an actual air horn.
That would be great for our levels.
With our 5-year-old soundboard here that I bought off Craigslist from Tony. What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Fat Tony.
No, it wasn't Fat Tony. Either way, John's here this week. We're already having fun. I was going to say we're going to have some fun. We're already having fun.
It's always fun with.
We've been sitting here chatting it up, like the definition of pre-show, just chatting it up about everything and
in
anything.
A literal green room too.
Yeah,
well, half of it. Yeah,
I mean, at least, part of it, most of it, half of it.
Yeah,
even
more than half, I'd say.
Yo, did you read? Have you been reading the new Justice League of America book?
No,
I wanted to talk.
There's
about
like
that.
one issue in.
It's great.
Ivan Rice on the art.
I love it.
With Lobo's in it.
I've seen that.
Okay,
I've seen it on the cover.
I haven't read a lot of Lobo. Okay. Alex, you're a big fan of Lobo. John, I just assume you've read everything.
A lot. He's great. Space biker. What's not to like?
Yeah.
He's an unkillable space biker.
And he talks like Randy Savage.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. When I have to slow down when I'm reading his lines.
The
because
main man.
With Ta and like, with Ta and you're over there with Ta and all that stuff, mate. Like, that's not how he talks, by the way.
Yeah.
But like the way they spell out his words, I have to slow it down a little bit so I can like fully understand it.
So you don't get to tell me what to do, Black Canary.
That's pretty spot on. Actually.
Thank you.
That's not bad. If it was like 3 octaves deeper, it's
like,
what killed me. I'm not a fan of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
And then when I found out that the giant brother from that show voices Lobo in the Justice League cartoon,
and he's doing basically
his own voice.
He's doing basically a Randy Savage or his own voice, but John DiMaggio, I think, is doing Lobo in the new Justice League action cartoon.
Okay.
He is doing Randy Savage, and it's great.
So he's essentially doing Motorhead.
Yeah.
From Kim Possible. Remember that?
Yes.
I used to watch a lot of Kim Possible because I may have dated someone who really liked Kim Possible.
Text me, tweet me if you want to meet me or something.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Oh, reach me.
Yep.
Wink, wink, if you know what I mean.
Dun, 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 dun. That was the song.
I had a question, but now I've lost
Lobo
it already.
Lobo, Justice League
like,
of America.
is that that's a thing? That's how he always talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the entire time.
I don't think I'd be able to read a standalone Lobo.
Well, like that version of Lobo, because one of the things I explained was like when he first showed up, he looked kind of ridiculous. He had a weird outfit.
Mm-hmm. Well, purple.
It was like purple and yellow, right?
Yeah.
It was stupid.
But then, like, when he was
Sounds how you really feel.
When he was in Legion and doing other, like, space comic stuff, and this was, like, through the late 70s to early 80s, he had a certain look to him where he was, like, he kind of looked like a roadie rock star. Mm-hmm. And that was before he got really, like, turned the volume way up, and he became, like, the really gruff, wild hair, uncombed.
It's like...
And all the veins, and, you know, just...
You'll have a character, but he won't, like, fully come into his own until a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Lobo is the Lobo that should be, you know?
Because that he was the 90s Lobo, because there were so many anti-heroes, and he was essentially... A parody of anti-heroes,
Which I don't think a lot of people got.
No.
And...
Especially
he was a parody of like Wolverine and the Punisher and like the Dark Knight Batman.
Exactly. And he doesn't care, and he's so violent, but he can't die. So that then when New 52 showed up with Twilight Lobo,
with like very svelte, he's got those V lines.
And he combs his hair. He looks very groomed.
Yes.
And people are freaking out, and like I don't recall if I had like a serious feeling about it, or if I just was like, eh.
I was like, it was.
I think we all just kind of wrote it off back in the day,
but
because Kenneth Rocafort designed it, and like whatever he draws is like golden, so I didn't mind how it looked because it was drawn technically well.
One of the things I wanted to point out was that like so many people throw back to that anti-hero, the very gruff, you know, dirty, uncombed space biker, and like, well, that's Lobo. And like, if you rewind that a little bit further to when he was doing those appearances in Legion, he was more svelte and slim and like tied his hair back in a ponytail. Like that version isn't far off from what we got with New 52.
Right.
They just rewinded it a little bit further, and like it's not something worth getting that angry about.
Yeah.
If you know your history and just look for it, it's there.
I don't know what it's probably the disconnection and the power of being anonymous, which makes people online go from 0 to 1,000 in anger over small things.
Yeah, but this will also be like someone else you meet in the comic shop.
Yeah.
Or like friends that you have. So
I believe they're called neck beards.
You're sitting with one of them in this room right now.
Milady.
But what you were saying with the vocabulary and how like they spell out the entire word, how he pronounces stuff, and there's a lot of Z's in his words, I know.
How's it?
Bastich.
Yeah, he says Bastich a lot. Yep.
And so, I don't know if you guys have seen it in other books, but I feel like in some ways, writers don't express the same kind of freedom with other characters because there's that easy button of getting called a racist. Oh. Like, if you spell out the stuff that Nightcrawler says,
it's
be like, this is correctly German or
like
something.
Z-I-S?
Yeah,
it's like phonetic German, like,
yeah.
Oh, I am a pretty little blue mutant. I can
mutant.
I can bounce from place to place.
Because this will happen in other comics where something takes place in, a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
And like the caption's like, oh, they said this in Arabic. And like the fans are like, you mean Farsi? That's in Farsi. Is there editing on this book? You should get fired. Quit right now. Resign. You're terrible at your job.
Yikes.
And like, you can't make mistakes anymore because people will just attack you for it. It's like, well, innocent mistake. I'm sorry. Like, that's not good enough. We want your job.
Everyone wants to be the spark of the latest outrage.
And so, but with,
very shaming.
The fictional
culture of shaming.
That fictional language that Lobo has and his speech pattern, do we see that as much in other versions?
Aside from like Kilowog.
What's interesting?
He's like the only one who I could think of.
I had an idea. What if are all the Zarnians, if they were all alive still, because he's the last one, because he killed them all.
Of course he did.
Yeah. What if they're all just like Lobo? Like they're all just like bikers and like just shitty.
It's like
bikers.
You ever see the mod of Left 4 Dead where they make all the zombies Macho Man?
Yeah.
That's what I.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine like that planet was like beforehand. It's just really loud.
What are you doing up there? Staying away from you.
There's been like a couple different versions of his story, but one of them was that like he killed his entire planet as a science project.
Yeah, when he was like a kid.
Yeah.
Of course.
I want to talk about the writer of Justice League of America, Steve Orlando, I think his name is.
I think so. I was pumped to see Ivan Reis on a book. I mean, I think he was on Cyborg for a little while.
Mm-hmm. He draws machines so good.
He just draws everything. So like, he's brilliant. I have multiple of his things
There's
tattooed.
2 original art pages behind you.
Into my art, yeah.
I met him once, and he was like, I said, I really love your Aquaman book that you're doing. And he's like, well, why aren't you in, we're at a Comic-Con, why aren't you in an Aquaman costume?
He's got a fair point.
And because, and I was like, you know what, Ivan Reis, if we meet again, I will be in an Aquaman costume. So I'll have to make that happen.
Someday.
Jared does have a really sweet tattoo.
I have a nice tattoo of a couple of Ivan Reis inspired things. I also have my Larfleeze sketch from Ivan Reis, and I have like a prelim because I can't afford his original art.
Yeah.
So I bought like a prelim sketch for like $25.
Would you say those are Ivan nice?
Told you were gonna have some fun today.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say about the writer?
John knows him.
He previously, or I think he may still be doing Midnighter, the book Midnighter in Apollo,
which you were a fan of.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like, what a good relationship that you love someone so much that you're going to go to literally hell to get them back. Because Apollo, I guess, gets kidnapped or something.
Hercules.
The
animated movie.
Killed.
Put the gladiator.
In every vase.
John's dancing right now.
Real sassy too.
So sassy. But like, he said that he wanted to put a LGBT character on the Justice League, and so we were all thinking like, well, I was thinking, I don't know about anyone else. Is he going to put like, obviously Lobo. He's a lesbian. What if Lobo was a woman? What if that's what a female Zarnian looks like? Have you seen a female Zarnian?
There's been a couple issues. One miniseries was like one of his teachers was off planet and he didn't kill her, but he had to like go kidnap her back for some reason. But that was like an old hag kind of ugly woman.
Okay, gotcha. So you don't know what a fully in her prime Zarnian woman looks like.
No,
you've never seen that.
There was she wasn't Zarnian, but he had a battle with Bling Bling the hip hop hoe.
That's funny.
Who he had trouble beating and killing. She beat him once. And then I think she was going to kill all his space dolphins.
But anyway,
you don't mess with Lobo space dolphins.
No, you don't. But so I was thinking that maybe he would put Midnighter on the Justice League, but on his new team, the Ray is on the on the Justice League, and he is gay, and I was like, that's cool. That he is some representation.
You know, did you read because there was like the Rebirth issue, then there was issue number 1, which is really confusing.
Yeah,
they did it for all the issues in the new Rebirth. They had Rebirth. It was like Green Lanterns,
little one shots.
Rebirth, and they said it was number 1. And then next month, Green Lanterns number 1.
It's like,
and I was like, wait, but I already read number 1. Oh no, that was Rebirth. You had to like kick it off with the Rebirth issue. So in the Rebirth issue of the Justice League,
they had a couple one shots of some new like Frost, formerly Killer Frost,
right?
And like all these little Adam, Vixen, Ray, and they had little one shots of them.
If you've seen Mighty Ducks 2, you've read the Rebirth issue of Justice League of America, or is it Justice Society or Justice League? I think it's Justice League, yeah. Because it's like, you know, like one by one they're getting the gang back together, and there's like more. Like,
yeah, I love that. I love getting the team together story. I don't know. It's kind of a cliche, but it's like fun. And it's a cool
I dug
team. It's a really cool team.
And with Ivan Reis on the art, I'll buy it.
Was there a couple people who were all for it, and then someone who was like, I don't need to be on the team?
Well, I think Lobo was kind of like forced into it, but he was like, I'm bored.
It's like Batman's like,
pay me.
Are you an actual man of your word? Because you promised.
Oh.
And he's like, fine. And so it's a cool team. It's like Batman, Vixen, Ryan Choi,
Killer Frost.
Adam, Killer Frost, formerly Killer Frost, because she promised not to kill anymore. Black Canary. I said Vixen already. Ray.
I
think that's it. It's like 7.
I think so.
So this Rebirth New 52 new version made the Ray gay. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know too much about the Ray.
The original one,
he's like the 90s Ray, because he's like in that costume.
The 90s one,
yeah.
When I would buy like a bulk auction lot of stuff, that's one of the ones that I read a couple books of. And I remember there being a lot of angst about Girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe this new version, I think it's easier to do with lesser known characters because no one would care that much.
Yeah.
And it could be it's a totally different character. I mean, just with the same powers and name.
Unless all the angst was realizing why it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah. It's like, man, these girls just aren't working out. Actually, fun fact, that was one of Joe Quesada's first gigs, is illustrating the Ray back for DC in the day.
Really?
One of his first big things.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
I might not still own that, but...
Did I mention we have yet to even touch on the topic that we're actually planning on talking about today?
Which is?
I thought we were going to talk about toys and shit.
Oh, toys and shit.
But we just got going on comics and Lobo and
comics are cool.
I'm don't get me wrong. I'm always down for comics. I only had 2 books this week. 2 books. I had Green Lanterns and the Justice League book.
I had a bunch because apparently they started refiling how they file stuff.
At where? The old comic shop you go to?
Yeah. Yeah. They used to always put your pull in front of your file card.
Oh,
dude, it's behind.
It used to be in front.
It's always been behind.
Oh my!
As far as
God.
I think I'm in the second box.
That's why
I think you're in the first box.
That's why I couldn't find any for the past 2 weeks until I was like, there was a huge stack because the guy in front of me apparently hadn't picked them up yet, and then I finally found mine. And there was a couple, redos in there. Anyway, I saw a thing. The Koto Bikuya Bishuju line.
They do little statues, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
The ones at Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it the right way.
Kotobukiya?
Yeah, but the Bishu.
Okay.
But they've been doing them for a long time. They've got a bunch of them, and they have really cool armored men figures. But they also have a lot of cheesecake hot lady figures, and they're always over sexualized.
Yeah, yeah.
They have ridiculous breasts and their butts sticking out, and they're in some kind of sexy pose and everything. And they look really neat, and that's okay for a collector, but I don't know if I would want to have one in my room and then and still have my mother respect me when she comes over. But I saw they were finally making a new one. And the character's been out for 4 years, and they're finally going to do one of this character. And I was immediately oh no.
What?
This could be bad.
I'm curious.
Because it's Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel.
Oh, my. And she's Muslim.
And she's a teenager.
She is a teenager. Spider-Gwen, I haven't seen anything too sexual. I've seen statues and figures of Spider-Gwen, but I haven't seen anything too overly sexual about her. But she's also a teenager.
Right. And then, was it J. Scott Campbell that did a variant cover for Ironheart?
Yeah, and she's 13.
But J. Scott Campbelled her.
So it's belly shirt.
Which he recently caught some heat for, 4 or 5 months ago.
There was trouble with him for that.
Yep.
And people were also yelling at Marvel, and it's but when you hire someone who does this is what they're going to make.
Milo Manara, the cheesecake...
Spider-Woman?
Kind of almost softcore porn artist?
He's an erotic artist.
Okay. And
his
then he
regular
does a very
books
erotic...
completely erotic.
Spider-Woman, not physically possible, but also she has spider powers, so maybe she's more flexible.
And she's also wearing a skin-tight costume.
Yeah. But kind of looks like it's very, almost painted on her. Body paint.
Yeah. So at first, I'm reading the headline, and I see an image of the head, for the Kamala Khan, and I'm thinking of that J. Scott Campbell and Moon Girl, and what happened with that. And I open it up, and she's accurately proportioned.
And it's just kind of just her as a statue.
It's the character as she's drawn in the comics as a young girl with her oversized T-shirt kind of thing, and with her stretchy arms and big fists and her powers activating. And I was we're all safe. Yeah, no one's in trouble. No one's gonna get yelled at. We're not gonna become terrible pariahs for doing something to another character. And I was really relieved. It's if you've seen what they've done with Black Widow and
Black
even
Widow, the zipper's always all the way down for some reason.
Yeah.
Or
Scarlet Witch and
Black Cat. Although she's kind of a sexy character to begin with.
Yeah.
But the Darwin Cook design for Catwoman, which has been her costume for almost over 10 years, probably more than that, because he started that book with Ed Brubaker.
Which made it more crime noir than superhero.
But that design, the zipper, he designed it as up. But everyone from Arkham City to everywhere, it's always look at my boobies. It's halfway
almost down to her navel.
Yeah.
He also made her baggy too.
Yeah, you can see creases in the suit. It's not latex.
It's actual clothes.
Yeah. But that depends on the artistic interpretation. But
which I feel is a good thing. that if you're making a new character, even if you're tailoring that person to a certain audience, to be like, oh, well, this would be a way to get more girls into comics, or a way to get,
representation.
Yeah. And maybe it's like, oh, we see too many like white men in comics.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, well,
the Justice League is all white males. The classic lineup, except one white female.
Cyborg, though.
Cyborg. But
I wouldn't call that classic, because he's a Titan before he was
who graduated.
Justice League.
But I was going to say, what was I going to say? But, like, yeah, Kamala Khan's, like, the first character to be a Muslim and have her own book. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty important. I
haven't read any of her stuff, but she showed up in an issue of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. book, and her and Phil Coulson are, like, debating.
Because they're both fanboys. Or she's a fangirl. They're both... Before she got powers, she was a huge nerd. Like, the one issue I read that made me really like the character was...
she was a fan of the superheroes in the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
And she'd be the person who, like, would want to collect Spider-Man's webbing, but, like, can't find any because it decays after an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
So, she's illustrated by Jake Wyatt, who's, like, a really cool artist. So she teams up with an issue with Wolverine, and so she's geeking out the entire time. And, like, she's like, Wolverine, as they're, like, trudging through the sewer, like, my fan fiction of you won second place on the website. And Wolverine is like, oh, yeah? What was first place? Oh, it was, like, a fan fiction of, like, Cyclops and Emma Frost having a picnic, and he was like, this is the worst day of my life. Because they're in the sewer in this gross environment, and she was just saying that stupid Cyclops and Emma Frost's fan fiction was more popular than his. And so it was fun. It was fun.
Coulson was, like, tracking down some bad guy, and, like, I think a weapon was stolen or something, and, like, Coulson and Ms. Marvel are, like, arguing over which iteration of the weapon it is. And they're like, well, he made a new one in this year. And Phil's like, well, that one's in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. We know that. And she's like, so obviously that means this is the second, like, shocker or so, something silly and ridiculous.
That's funny.
It was great.
That's awesome. That is cool. So,
John, you're into the figures of, like an action type. Got a call? You want to take that? You can take it. Do it. No?
He's debating.
I didn't know how to turn them off.
It happens.
Sorry. You're saying action figures. Am I a fan
of
them?
the figures of the action type is how I was trying to succinctly put that.
I do like them. I'm a fan of different collectibles. And
let's talk about toys.
Yeah, let's talk about toys. I feel like I never really get to talk about it, like it's my dirty little secret.
Like it's like when I'm at work and like I'm really excited about like I got my comics reorganized and like I have a full like I split up my Green Lantern books, and now one box is Green Lantern, the other box is Green Lantern Core.
Ooh, there's a difference.
I'm pretty excited right now. Like, but I can't tell. Like, nobody gives a shit at work.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, I would never bring it up at work. Oh my god, talk about social pariah. Wow, they'd be like, "Wait, what? Action figures?" But
I buy and display them.
But John, you're so handsome. You're not a geek.
Well, that's nice of you to say. But yeah, I like them. I like action figures. It's like as time goes on, it's like almost nostalgia, where it's like some of it is like these characters are from the '80s. Some of them that I like Skeletor or He-Man, where that was not my childhood. So why should I be nostalgic about that? But it's really cool, and at the time, it was so big. And that's kind of like the last property, if you think about it, from the 80s that no one's really tried to bring back because it's maybe too weird. But
there's been like a couple attempts.
But nothing that really hit home.
No, nothing that spawns like a multi-platform.
Because it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They had
they had like 1 year of a new comic or like one run of a comic book. And then they tried making like a new cartoon that didn't really go well.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been brand new revamp of cartoon comic action figure.
movie
to span all these different mediums. It's been like, we'll take a shot at one, and I didn't really know.
Yeah, but back to as a whole, like, I just think they're almost like pop art, where like it's, you know, characters you think are cool, and like, you know, there's sculpting, and like it's cool. It's like little sculptures that you can pose and make them, you know, look like they're fighting each other.
But like they're classic versions.
Yeah.
Between the He-Man stuff and
or the Justice League, or
check out John's Instagram, because you occasionally post like pictures of your collection, and you don't get like
to do it all the time, because I'm like, oh, this guy is like man cave. Yikes!
But I dig it though, because like you're collecting like different sections of things. Like, here's my Justice League team, and here's you had like 4 that weren't really related, but somehow they went together. I don't remember.
I have a shelf of a couple of Darwin Cook's figures, where like they made a couple of series of figures that are sculpted, which is like insane, because he has a very flat 2D style that they somehow sculpted into a 3D action figure. And I have, which in my opinion is the best Dr. Fate action figure, which he made in the New Frontier. Even though he appears for like 3 pages tops, he just wanted an excuse to really like make this into a figure, and it looks so cool. Like it's so awesome. So I have like Batman, Superman, which comes with a video. He comes with like an old school like reel to reel like camera, because it's Superman does, and his hair is like blown back, so his like little S curl is sculpted back.
Oh, is he like half Kent or?
No, because he based that figure, like you could pose him, he's holding it as an old comic book cover where the United States asked him to, because he's the only one who could get close enough, to film an atomic test.
Oh.
So he's like in midair like this, while an H-bomb is like exploding, like, and it's so cool that little like reference to an old comic is in that.
That's awesome.
And I have the Supergirl one that they did like last year, which is very recent, because it's a great sculpt. It like is so like cheerful, like, which is a great thing about Darwin Cook's art. It's so optimistic. I would describe it as being very optimistic. But it comes with Crypto and Streaky, and that's fantastic. Like, it's a dog and a cat in a cape. Like, why would you not want that? But
Streaky the Super Cat.
Yeah. The last dog and cat of Krypton.
So when we say action figures, people might think of what's like currently out there right now, like if they go to a Target or something.
Some of it is great.
Well, but some of it's really bad.
Oh, some of it is very bad.
Because I can imagine a kid watching the Avengers or something, or seeing commercials for it and being like, oh, I want a Captain America figure. And like the parents might not really know what's going on yet, or like might not think like, oh, the kid's just going to break it or lose the parts. So they get him this $6 8-inch one that has like 4 movable joints.
Oh, right. Kind of looks like a shampoo bottle.
And it's just a bad figure.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe a 3-year-old will get some use out of it.
Kids love those though. Like they're called a couple different companies make them, but like Jack Specific makes like. They're called Big Figs.
Oh, like the 3-foot ones?
They're like hollow, but they're just like so. They take up so much space that the kid just like looks at it and his eyes almost roll back. They're like, "That's so big," and like they want it. And because you
heard, nope, not gonna.
no. I knew it as soon as I said it. I shouldn't have.
I don't know.
Like you go to Target or Toys R Us and you've seen like even during the holidays they had like. Almost the size of a child, like a 5-foot.
The Stormtrooper,
yeah, Stormtrooper,
Michelangelo turtle,
like stuff like that. But you can find at Target and Walmart and like Toys R Us like Marvel Legends, which are very well done, and for like $20, you get a really
so much articulation,
posable, very well designed. Like I think they're great.
And they don't just redo the same character over and over again.
No, they have a wide variety.
It's like you could buy a Batroc figure.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on they're like 2 to 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
And you can essentially move their legs forward and their arms forward. They're just those really base. I can't remember the name of the brand.
I know what you're talking about.
Homies?
No.
It's almost like they're redoing.
It's like retro toys.
Retro toy.
Okay. I think a reaction.
Yep.
And I have received a couple as a gift, and the ones that I have are pretty great. Will Monroe, former guest of the show, he got me. They made a little Sam one. He's a little spirit of Halloween from this movie Trick or Treat, and he has a little sack.
I remember coming home from work one day, and you were watching that. I was like, "What is this?" And you're like, "It's Trick or Treat. You want to watch?" And I was like, "No, it looks scary as shit. I'm gonna go to bed."
It's such a fun movie. And what's the other one I have? Someone either got me. Oh yeah, my other friend Frank got me another Halloween dude. Jack Skellington in his pumpkin form, so he has like a jack-o'-lantern for a head. So these are like pure nostalgia. That's not a bad thing, but like it's like we're gonna do toys with these basic articulation, like 5 points, neck, shoulders, and like legs, with some accessories that kind of look like the way the company Kenner used to make toys.
There we go.
Back in the 70s when they first got the license to do Star Wars.
Right.
And you see those retro-looking Star Wars toys, which are like tiny. And so in that retro style, they've tried to attribute that to different licenses. Like they even do like, you can get I saw there's a pack of, from Aliens, you can get a little Ripley in the power loader and an alien queen, so you can make them fight.
I've seen Firefly ones.
Firefly, they have them like for a lot, because Funko has so many licenses.
The retro Star Wars ones are still such better quality than what those versions are now.
So you think it falls short of those old versions?
So like, what if we're talking about the same stuff, the smaller, really simple,
yeah.
And like I saw a Firefly one, I saw like some horror figure.
They make them for everything.
And like, I see it as a cash grab. Like there's other things, if you appreciate a property, there's other things you could get. And like there's better quality stuff you could get.
I think so.
And some places even still overcharge for what you're getting. And like the card that the figures are on are so big, and like they put more effort into the graphics on the card than into making the
maybe
figure
that's
itself.
the glue,
kind of,
the glue on the packaging. Okay, so it's a card. it's a piece of cardboard.
Like a blister card, yeah.
And then there's a piece, like they have the figure, and they put the figure in a piece of plastic, like a circular, oval piece of plastic,
like a little clamshell,
and they glue it onto the card.
Yeah,
that's how it's sold.
Yeah.
That glue, if you put an ounce of pressure on it,
will
just breaks away.
Which is interesting because I think a lot of people see the whole thing as one display piece, and they won't even take it out of the packaging because like it's almost like its own. The figure is only part of the design of the piece, and so saying that it comes off is kind of disappointing to hear.
So easily, if you bump it the wrong way, it pops off. You can try to tape it back on, but what collector's going to buy that?
Yeah, it's not. You'll need super glue to just like place it back on.
Working for a company, that sold those for a little bit. I think they still do actually. At least once or twice a day, we would find one like on the ground that had like the packaging had just fallen apart.
And those ones are aimed at adults. They're not like toys for kids. They're aimed at collectors.
Yep.
Or people who want to play with a...
I think they were trying to do like, oh, hey, these pop figures, we can do that too.
I think that is the same. It's Funko who does both.
Oh, they do? Oh, okay.
I like the Funko company. I think they're cool. I think the things that they're trying to do are cool because they're known for they're famous for the Funko Pops, but the company started making bobbleheads. And then they made a shit ton of bobbleheads. You can go to this place called Wild Bill's, and it's a nostalgia place in Middletown. And it must be a preferred retailer of the Funko products because they even made him into one. You can buy a Wild Bill bobblehead, but you can see their early products because he still sells them. It's a lot of bobbleheads, and then the first Funko Pop that they made was Batman, and then they just took that template and ran wild with it because then there's every sort of property and even more being announced. I saw that they're doing some Overwatch ones.
Yep.
Where there's a tiny little girl character that you can place into the big pink robot that they're making.
Diva.
Oh, yeah.
Diva, yeah. So it's kind of broad appeal because if you like the cartoony style that they do, you can basically, if you have a favorite character, you could probably find one for you.
That's true. Like, I tend to dump on the Pops a lot because in my head, they're being sold as collectibles.
Some people don't. Some people just have a wall. I've seen on Instagram of unopened ones.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, it's in my head like they're being marketed as a collectible, but there's hundreds of thousands of these made, which makes them not a collectible.
I'm also afraid that it might be the Beanie Baby or Pog of our generation.
Yeah.
And so they made, which is great that they're diversifying from just that. So the company won't live or die on the Funko Pop.
I think that they've already outlasted both Beanie Babies and Pogs.
Yeah, they've
like
been around for a while.
whether it's still a passing fad is to be seen, but it's had longevity. Like I remember when those first started showing up back when I worked at Barnes and Noble. I call it Barnes and Noble now, not the bookstore.
Because you can say because you're not there anymore.
Yeah. I remember a guy came up with like 10 of them like in his arms, and his exact words was, "I'm going to retire on these."
Are you?
And I was like, "Good luck, sir.
Good luck.
So
you have at it."
I wanted to come back because I know I dump on them, and I say I don't respect them because I was like, oh, well, I collect actual things that are tough to get. Burr, burr, burr. I should have done that on Geek Voice. I'm sorry.
No, you shouldn't.
But as you said, they have so many properties involved that if you are a fan of something, they will probably have it because they just encapsulate so many different
pop culture properties.
Yeah.
Intellectual properties.
And so on that aspect, like, if you really dig Walking Dead, you can get your Walking Dead Pops.
Game of Thrones, Justice
the Game of Thrones, comic books, video games, so many different things. Animes that
Harry
I've never
Potter,
heard of. So much stuff that they're making what they do widely available to so many different audiences.
Also,
and like so, from a fan standpoint, I'm sorry.
No, I like fan point.
I can kind of respect a little bit of it, that they're giving, some opportunities of like, oh, well, I wish I had some kind of cute little figure of the dragons from Game of Thrones.
You can get them. They look pretty cool. But what I'll say about them as well, because they're trying to do those reaction toys, and they're trying to diversify the different designs of things. They've started, one of my favorite things I have is from them. It is because they've started to do with select properties, like they've done like Firefly ones, Game of Thrones ones. I think some select other ones, but they made a 6-inch fully articulated action figures, and the one I have is the Rocketeer, and it is the first like Rocketeer action figure, because like from the movie when it came out in '94 or '90 whatever, it like didn't do too well because I think it was up against The Last Crusade.
If you Movies with Mikey did the Rocketeer, and he definitely points out like everything it was up against, and it was a daunting task.
Yeah, but it's a good movie. It's a great movie based on a great comic book, which is an homage to like the great, awesome, fun pulp characters. But
I think he called it like one of the greatest Superman movies, something like that.
Because you have the mustache twirling villain played by Timothy Dalton, like chewing the scenery. It's so fun. But like you have the Lois Lane damsel in distress,
and even and this guy was like, and back when Disney didn't mind killing people, and then like it shows like all accounts. I was like, there's like mobsters mowing down this car with their Tommy guns. He's like, oh jeez, and the way Mikey does like the reactions. To
one of the great lines of any movie that I can remember is like, there's a point where the Nazis are revealed, and there's like a organized crime element too in the movie, and the Rocketeer is like, well, we got to fight these Nazis, and like.
Obviously,
the mob boss is like, we may be criminals, but we ain't Nazis, and like then they just turn their Tommy guns onto the Nazis, and like it's awesome, it's great. So Funko's great, but
the thing about Funko, they're aware that like like you said, how people just have walls of them still in the boxes. Funko sells a case. They sell cases for you to put your boxed pops in to keep them in good condition.
I've been in line for a Nathan Fillion autograph with someone who brought their Funko Pop
I've seen that
box for him to sign and then put it back into its case. The box went in a protective case.
So the reason why I brought up the Rocketeer is because it's great looking. It looks awesome. It even has the piece of bubblegum on the back of the
the blaster tank or the
jetpack, so the fuel doesn't leak out. But the reason why I brought it up is because it's an example of them trying different things. Mm-hmm. And, like, they're not just like, we're the pop company. It's like, no, they try to make different things. So
right.
That's all I want to say.
Let's talk. Go ahead.
I was going to do the imitators because I think before Pops came out, they had Mighty Mugs.
Oh yeah.
And now they're trying to push Dorbs,
which is also Funko.
Oh, they're also
Dorbs.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's just a different shape.
But they're all smiling.
They're adorable.
They all smile and they're
Dorbans.
There's no difference. They're a different size, but
it's okay. Oh
yeah.
No, I mean people think they're even more kawaii.
It's kawaii.
Sorry, I've never heard it spoken aloud.
My niece taught me that.
Oh.
John, I want to talk about the like the subgroup of toy collectors.
Subgroup, okay.
Okay, so like the customs.
Customs are very interesting, and
because I see you doing it, and I'm like, I want to see more of this.
I should be more on top of it. I just bought some Pez dispensers because their heads.
Is that a good source of heads?
Yes.
You never really think about that until like someone mentions it.
Because I have some old He-Man figures, and they're not in good shape, so they're not worth like keeping. Though I do have like an almost complete. I have a complete vintage Skeletor, and I need the axe and the shield for He-Man. But then he'll be like, perfect. But like the heads on the Pez dispensers fit perfectly on that scale. So I was thinking I bought a bunch of 2 or 3 Halloween Pez machines to make like spooky He-Man knockoff creatures. So that's cool. I just have to be more on top of it. But some people I see have done pretty amazing things beyond my capabilities at the moment. like.
And this is because of the love of toys. This isn't because like we're not talking Sid Toy Story. Mashing heads onto dolls that wouldn't otherwise need a head that size.
Mm-hmm. But it's also not purely financial either.
Right.
Unicron 7, Unicron 9 is a guy I watch on Facebook who makes custom Transformers. Mm-hmm. And they actually transform.
That's amazing.
And
that's like you have to be an engineer for that.
They're so cool.
That's so cool.
And either he'll repaint some or he'll modify other ones. It still transforms. And
just picture something you would never think is a Transformer. What if like Rex from Toy Story turned into a robot? Like that would be awesome.
Grimlock?
Speaking of like, yeah, exactly.
And
speaking of Toy Story.
And so I watched this, and like, there's one thing that is just for himself because he wants it, and then there's ones that are commissions that someone else will pay him and be like, hey, I want you to make me my own. I can't even imagine what he would make, but like they're so cool.
They are cool. Like I made a Darwin Cook Aquaman. And I recently sold it. Someone wanted to buy it.
Yeah?
So I shipped it and sold it to him. And
no way.
Because I originally bought it for myself because I was like, there's a space in my lineup that they never ended up making.
Right. Explain why. What? So there was never a Darwin Cook Aquaman
They
figure?
made a New Frontier, couple of waves of figures from DC Direct, and then they came out with a couple last year. But they never made an Aquaman for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. But so I saw that someone, this is not I have to confess, I saw someone, they did it first on Instagram, and I kind of looked at it, and I kind of like picked out what the pieces were that they made, and I tried to do it myself, and I think it came out pretty good. Mm-hmm. Well, good enough so someone bought it. So the Green Lantern that they came with a head that didn't have a mask on. So if you buy that, then you have a blank, just, squinty superhero head.
Right.
And then... similar style because Darwin Cook has kind of like influences of Kirby, Jack Kirby, and then a couple years before that, DC Direct came out with a Jack Kirby line. So I got like for like $9 or $10 Orion. So he has kind of just a blank body as it is. So you just pop the head on and you repaint it, and then you have an Aquaman. So it's just fun. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yo, Darkseid would be pissed.
Yeah.
Do that to his son? Jeez.
His son's talking to the fish now. But yeah, it's fun. It's like getting better at painting, and then just cool ideas. It's just a fun little hobby.
Have you ever seen the people that will buy the different body and switch it out on their Hot Toys figures?
I have not seen that. I thought you were going to say something called Swap the Fig. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but
no.
People will buy something at Walmart or Target that they have wanted for a while, and then they will bring it home, and then take the figure out and put something else in, and then return it, and then get their money back. So it's basically stealing.
It's fucked up.
But then you see these kind of funny, kind of fucked up photos of someone seeing something on the shelf with like, what is this? Why does it say Wolverine on it when it's just like some shitty action figure in the box? But like if you go return it somewhere, they're not going to know. Then it's like, oh, okay, cool. Here's your money back.
Well, even then, that's how I bought it. That's why I'm returning it. It's the wrong figure.
Yeah. Oh, my kid didn't want this. It said Wolverine, and it's not Wolverine.
Yep. You have a no hassle return policy, so stop hassling me.
Yeah, don't hassle me, bro.
I don't remember the name, but there's like YouTube videos, and it's weird because someone will buy like the Hot Toys figure of Black Widow.
Yeah,
and it's a Scarlet Witch figure.
Hulk or something?
And no, what they do, a different company will make bodies really similar to the Hot Toys bodies, except...
Did you show me this where like it's very buxom and like her Black Widow costume will not fit?
Yeah.
So her boobs are spilling out of it?
Yeah. But so
you showed me that.
The Hot Toys bodies will have joints in them. You'll see joints in the arms, the hips, the legs, and everything. But like this other company will put like a layer of
like silicone or something?
Something over it.
So it almost looks like a human.
Almost like a real doll.
Ew.
Yeah. But in it as a toy. And they actually... And so like... The anatomy is correct. And so like...
Fully functional.
The breasts will have nipples. Guys will have a penis.
That's interesting. I'm not sure I would need that sort of level of realism.
That is a toy I don't need to have.
Yeah, I don't think I want that.
But even trying to undress a Hot Toy figure...
With your sweaty, fumbling hands. Like,
on bated breath.
Agent Coulson, I just want to see your abs.
Because I was looking at Hot Toys figures, and for some reason one of these popped up, and I was like, why is this figure naked? Yeah. And out of curiosity, I mistakenly clicked on it. And then I was just like, kind of in shock of like, oh, why? But the reviewers who are doing this are so serious about it. Like, you can
really appreciate the level of shading on her areola. That's what I really appreciate.
It was strange.
Yeah.
It's a train wreck that you can't look away from.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And they're like critiquing, this one's a little bit taller because the costume doesn't fit all the way. Mm-hmm. It was because they also feel kind of squishy, like rubbery. Because they also switched out one of the Captain Americas, the Chris Evans. Yeah. And but they just buy like the bodies and will replace them with what the figure already comes as.
That's interesting.
How perfect and detailed do you need your figures to be?
You just want to feel like a giant.
Like they're all Hot Toys are already pretty amazing.
They're probably the best.
They don't need to get weird.
Yeah, let's get weird, guys. Let's get real weird. But yeah, segueing from that, I guess.
I'm sorry.
You want to talk about Toy Fair?
Yeah,
just happened.
Do it.
So that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I looked up because I was thinking of maybe going one year, but you have to be in the toy industry,
in the media,
or a media person. Like on some website, there's like Toy News International or Action Figure Insider.
Do you think the Toy Hunter goes?
I don't know who that is. I'm ignorant. Who is he? Is he that show?
He had that show.
Okay.
That I had a hard time believing was real.
Yeah.
But like he would go to people's houses and find toys and be like, "Oh my god, this is so valuable," and he'd buy them off them, and then he'd sell them at like a show for enormous profit.
Wow.
He was just stocking up to bring shit to like San Diego Comic-Con or something.
Okay.
Which I watched like one episode and I hated it. Because what we do here when we find guests to talk to, and this guy's at someone's house and he's like, "Oh, these are the prototypes for a couple of Batmobiles that I made." He's like, "Oh, you made these?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You designed them?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, I'll give you $60 for them." And I'm like, you had the chance to talk to a guy who designed the Batmobile toys, and you're just like, goodbye.
It's like you don't want to like talk about like the engineering involved. Or, like,
can I give this man an hour of my time to record a podcast?
Like,
you're just like, Toy Fair.
You're just like, oh, that's cool.
So Toy Fair. So yeah, you have to be like a YouTuber with a lot of followers, or like the guest of someone in the industry. But it's really cool. I like looking at all the prototypes of people, like of what the companies are coming out with, like Hasbro or Mattel. And so yeah, Marvel Legends. I think you guys would be pleasantly surprised that they're going to come out with this year at some point. I'm not sure when, but a Moon Knight, an up-to-date Moon Knight, like Mr. Knight. He will be in his Moon Knight suit with the cape on it. But I've seen there's like some generic bad guys like the Eel or Blizzard who has a similar like head mask, and there's an Agent Coulson action figure.
So you could do a custom.
And I've seen people do the Mr. Knight custom, and it is so cool.
Baller.
It is baller.
No, that's not Moon Knight. That is Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight.
If we encounter the vigilante Moon Knight, we'd have to fight him and take him in.
Yeah,
you want to do that?
Breaking the law. Mr. Knight is a consultant for the police department, that's so clever. That's so
that was really
clever. Good. But yeah, like they announced a whole bunch of new stuff.
I kind of like the Blizzard. He was on the Thunderbolts for like 20 issues, probably.
But there's a term called peg warmers, and it's
explain.
It's a character that comes out that the layman, or not the layman, maybe just the comic book fan, will just not want. So it's someone you'll just always see hanging up on the pegs at a store.
Yeah.
A famous example of a recent one is like from The Force Awakens, from their line of action figures. He was called Constable Zuvio, and he was a character that was cut out of the film because I guess he's the sheriff of the Jakku village.
Okay,
and
apparently it wasn't necessary.
No, it was not necessary to the plot. He
had all the portions.
Yeah.
Shares
one full portion.
Simon Pegg, by the way.
Yes, he's so great. But yeah, so the toy company did not know that before they made him. So you see people like facetiously posting on Instagram, "Oh, I finally tracked down Constable Zuvio," where like you can find him everywhere. Like he's this weird looking alien with like a wedge hat and like a tunic. So that's a peg warmer.
That was one of the problems with DC Universe.
Yes,
because
that was the double edge of the blade.
Yeah,
for that.
How so? What happened?
So DC would put out like like their classic images of the Justice League cartoon, and even characters that were never in the cartoon, but like were in the same shape and style. But stores wouldn't order the next batch or the next series until they completely sold out of the existing one. And so there was a point where they put out too many like third-tier D-list characters,
and they wouldn't sell.
And they wouldn't sell.
So that's tied into one of my favorite toy lines of all time. It's owned by Mattel, sculpted by these awesome dudes who I was showing you some of their photos before we started, called the Four Horsemen, who have gone on to do better things. Excuse me. They've done like the Mythic Legions Kickstarter, and they did the He-Man subscription service where you guys sign up for the subscription, but then you get a figure like every couple months from that show. But they did something called the DC Universe Classics, and they had really big ambition for it, because it wasn't just going to be, before that Mattel had the license for, you can have Superman and Batman and their supporting characters and villains. Mm-hmm. So you had a bit of leeway and work with, Joker, Batgirl, Parasite, Supergirl, Lex Luthor, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't have Wonder Woman. You couldn't have the Flash.
Huh.
So they finally got the okay.
Is that why we get like Arctic Suit Batman?
That may be why.
Like two Batmans in every series.
Yeah, like Tiger Stripe Batman or something. But so this series was really cool and ambitious, because DC was like, you can have the whole universe to do whoever you want. And so it was really a cool mission statement, because the first wave kind of like gave you an idea of what they wanted. So the first wave was classic Neil Adams Batman with the blue with the black right here in the front of the face. The Penguin, modern Penguin, Orion with his like astro harness, Red Tornado, and Etrigan the Demon. And that's I actually have the Etrigan. Like he's huge. He's like 7 inches, and he's like really beefy. He doesn't. to make him perfect, I think, and to infuriate you, Jeremy, I think he'd have to have a button,
a voice box,
and it'd be like, "I rhyme all the time," or something stupid. But
something about flames and burning.
But like, it was really like, and they came with this cool idea called a Build-A-Figure, or they would call it a Collect and Connect, where it was an incentive to buy all of them, because the first one that they had was you buy them all, and all the pieces make Metamorpho. And all of his little, like, metamorphic pieces.
Did Marvel come first with that?
Yes.
With their Galactus
one? Yeah, the Galactus.
Because I remember the Galactus.
He's the first ever Build-A-Figure.
Yeah, which was an awesome idea.
He's so cool.
I never did him, but I did the next one.
Yeah.
Twice.
Oh, the Sentinel.
I have 2 Build-A-Figure Sentinels.
Yeah. Some people see it as a gimmick, but if there's a character that would be too expensive to release by itself because he's too big, you can break him up into pieces like that. But... So, DC Universe, the double-edged sword is like you have wave after wave of characters who are like maybe fan favorites that you've always wanted a character of, like Jonah Hex or Kamandi, the Last Boy on Earth, or Satana, and they made all these like obscure characters, but like they tried to, with each wave, have a like an A-lister. Like one wave was like the Kilowog wave, because you bought them all and you could build a big Kilowog, and it was really awesome. It had like Tim Drake, Nightwing, Green Lantern, Sinestro, Deathstroke, I think it was, and like you buy them all and you can get Kilowog. But then you would have and then I think they tried to in later waves to also send some Batmans and Supermans. Just so, like you were saying, you're a kid walking down the aisle and you're like, oh, Kamandi, Last Boy on Earth, he's just some kid with jean shorts on.
Who's Vigilante? Why do I...
Yeah, Vigilante, not even the cool Vigilante, because I love the idea of he's a cowboy on a motorcycle who fights crime, but the Vigilante is just they revamped him in the 70s to be like a more brutal Vigilante with like a sniper rifle.
Like a not Punisher.
Yeah, they're basically a Punisher, and like he's kind of just like a boring, I'm in a jumpsuit kind of guy.
He's got a mask with a V on it, I guess.
Yeah. So it got to the point where what ultimately killed that line, like they looked so cool. They were very cool, very well sculpted, but like you would have in the aisle just characters so obscure that they weren't, like you were saying, that they wouldn't move.
Yeah.
Like Our Man.
Well, like DC Universe would have a 3-pack of
like the animated Justice League Unlimited. Yeah.
And it would be like Apache Chief and
Samurai
Black Vulcan and Samurai, and it's like no one knows no child is gonna see these.
I mean, from the Super Friends from the 1970s TV show.
Ine Chuck, right?
Chuck.
The only chance you would get is because they're racially diverse.
Yeah, I spilled coffee on myself, so I can no longer enlarge.
Get big. Okay, I think this isn't large. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Harvey Birdman. But yeah, so you have to balance that if you're going to do but it's cool because if you have an obscure like Golden Age character or an obscure DC character, you could probably find one on the secondary market, eBay or something like that, and you'll have your little your favorite guy.
John, what's your opinion on?
I should have brought some over.
I know. God, John, leaving in the packaging versus. Because I remember back in the day when we lived together, I have a couple figures. Probably my prized one is I don't even know his name. The guy with the doll head from Afro Samurai, or with the bear head.
I don't even realize.
Koba.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name. But like I left that shit in the box, hung it on the wall.
Yeah, as like you could do that as a cool display piece, and that's not. As long as it's like you can design it well so it looks cool in the packaging. But I am an opener. I like to open them up and display them on the shelf, and like the tactility of like holding them is cool.
Because if you just line them up side by side in the box, it's a lot less.
Some people do that. Like I saw this one guy on Instagram. He has a whole room of he has almost completed every Marvel Legend that has ever been released, and like that's impressive. But like, I kind of like opening them. Like it's cool. But yeah, like
there are a few that like the Blackest Night line, the Larfleeze that Alex has. That's a hard one to find.
Yeah, which
I
also
popped that
have,
open
right?
the day I got it.
He's hard to find, and probably like $20 at the time. Like,
yeah,
maybe
something like that. Yeah,
and So you go like on eBay or Amazon, like Larfleeze, type it in, like, oh shit.
He's like last time when I got that one, I think I paid like $60 for it, and it was running for about 80, and I got it in person from a friend, and they were like, "Can you sell this for me?" And I was like, "Here's what your return's going to be, but I'll take it." Because once we take out like shipping fees and eBay fees and PayPal fees and listing charge and all that, like, here's what you're going to end up with. And so she was like, "You're just going to sell it?" I was like, "No, I'm going to keep it."
Yeah, man. And that's kind of like of the things I have on my shelf, which I would like to someday have a bigger space to properly display them, because they're kind of, you don't want space to really show them off. But I've bought these things not because I want to sell them at some point. The ones I have on my shelf that I'm displaying is like, I like these are my personal.
Those are yours.
Yeah, these are mine. Like, some people will buy. I have a box in my car right now that I'm going to sell at because I'm thinking of maybe moving. If all goes to plan. So these things are, some of them are loose, but some of them are still in the packaging. And there's this place I want to go to that buys them. So that's, I think, some people who collect will do that, but most of the stuff I have is just for me,
It's fair.
Yeah. So
it's fair.
Back to Toy Fair. Hasbro announced, because a lot of criticism sometimes is like a lack of diversity. Like we were talking about the Justice League being a lot of white males, and so they announced a shit ton of new Marvel Legends, and what's cool is that they're going to do a lot of women. And
I saw you post about that.
Yeah. And in fact, one of them is a box set that will be available to I think it's exclusive to Toys R Us, and it's like a 7-pack of all women, and it's the A-Force. And some of them I would love just to have individually, because they're characters that I've grown to love because of a book called Next Wave. And like Monica Rambeau is like one of the coolest Marvel women in my opinion, like hands down. She is really confident, really cool. She has good one-liners, and she used to run the Avengers.
She's tough.
With a name like that? Monica Rambeau,
yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Photon Spectrum, Captain Marvel. Like, she's had a bunch of names.
It's French, so there's like 7 value.
EAU?
I was going to say, is it RAMBEAU? Rambeau.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, she's had like 6 superhero names.
But she currently goes by Spectrum, which is cool because it really is a great name, because she has the powers of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. She can pull.
Wow.
So she can like gamma rays, light.
Yeah, like you got to know your science to write that character.
Yeah. So she's part of the Ultimates right now. So she's really, really cool. So they're gonna have She-Hulk and the first ever like Sif, which is cool. Like,
Sif's badass.
She's a badass. She's like what if,
was Medusa in that lot?
No, she wasn't. But because they had previously released one.
Oh, okay.
Because that's why Captain Marvel isn't in that one.
Right.
Or Nico from the Runaways.
Nico Minoru.
Runaways. Sorry. She was in a Doctor Strange wave because she like, hey, let's put a bunch of magic people. Yeah.
Runaways supposedly to get a Hulu series.
That's cool. I think that would really be popular because it's a cool idea, and they're kids,
teenagers, evil parents.
Brian K. Vaughan.
Aren't everyone's?
Am I right?
Yeah. Brian K. Vaughan, man, he is the man.
Nice. I've never read it, but I've wanted to read it because I've heard you guys talk about it.
Yeah,
and also because Brian K. Vaughan.
Wasn't
Joss Whedon on it too?
Yeah,
first time. That's right. Yeah. That's right. But super cool, very cool. And Mattel's doing this thing called Multiverse, which some people don't like, but I do, because when they seem stronger when they're doing action figures based off of comic book things. When they try to do someone's likeness, like from a movie, it kind of is stupid. But
leave it to Hot Toys.
Leave it to Hot Toys. The hottest toys in town, Hot Toys. But they're coming out with like this wave of rebirth figures, and it's cool because these are figures based that you could find at a big box store based on comic books, which is like really cool. And
which are currently available.
Yeah.
It's not like they'll be tough to find.
Yeah. So
unless all the comic book shops returned the issues.
Yeah. So they're
Was it before Watchmen?
They're doing like they're still doing the collect and connect thing. So there's like but Multiverse is like things from TV, movies, and comics and cartoons. Mm-hmm. So they're doing like a Batgirl of Burnside, which looks pretty awesome. But it's like Flash TV show, whatever, Legends of Tomorrow. But the wave coming out soon, you can collect and connect King Shark from The Flash, like a big shark monster.
Nice. Yo, King Shark is terrifying.
Yeah, he's a big shark man. Like, it's great.
What was it in, was it Green Lantern Rebirth when he just shows up and 8 people?
Yeah.
That image of, like, the guy, like, in his head and his arm, like just like going down his gullet. Mm-hmm. No fucking thank you, man. Ethan Van Sciver.
But one coming out the next wave after that, because they have a couple of like different display cases, is like they have a Jim Gordon little Batman, but like the Collect and Connect is the actual
the robot,
the Bat robot,
the Bat Bunny,
which is so cool looking.
That is pretty neat. Will he fit inside?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Not if it's J.K. Simmons Jim Gordon.
Because he's Jim.
Because he's Jim Gordon.
G-Y-M Gordon. I forgot how to spell for a second.
Well, you went to spell like the name Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
So technically.
But the newest Rebirth wave is, which is good for diversity and representation because you have not only 2 female characters, but like one of them is LGBT, and it's the first comic book accurate Batwoman action figure. And it looks so fucking cool.
There haven't been other ones yet?
There was one from the 52 series that DC directed a while ago, and that's when she didn't really have a characterization.
Okay.
She wasn't like a rockabilly cool girl yet. She was just kind of like a lipstick lesbian kind of thing. And yeah, she comes with an alternate head with like the red buzz cut, and like this is cool because it's the first time they completely redid the design for a female body, so it looks much more natural. And they're doing Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Rebirth, Superman, John Romita Jr. trying to evoke his art style, Two-Face from Batman, All-Star
Batman.
So he's like all charred and he has the red and black suit.
It's gross, yeah.
Yeah, he's so gross. And there was another one I can't think of at the moment, but like you buy all the pieces and you can make Clayface.
Oh man.
And he looks so cool.
I am a sucker for Clayface.
Clayface is awesome. They've done...
What line is this? I need to Google it.
Try looking for DC Multiverse Toy Fair 2017. And yeah, it's just so cool looking. And it's based on what he looks like in the comic books now. So he has more of the wider mouth. But they've done him a couple times in the past with the DC Universe Classics, where he has had like more rubbery arms. But like he comes with like an axe.
Yeah.
And like a mace that you can interchange with his like little hands, and like this is so like it should be fun. It should look good, and you should want it.
I would love to question, like the makers, the people in charge who like sign the contracts and everything.
Yeah,
because what you're saying sounds, like there's a lot of good things on the horizon.
Yeah,
of like we're gonna have a 7-pack of all female Marvel figures.
Yeah,
it's like
so they're slowly realizing
like fantastic.
Yeah,
so. When we make Captain America Winter Soldier,
I see from that voice
that Clayface is so rad.
Yeah,
like when we make figures for Avengers 2, and we put
Captain America
on the motorcycle,
and it should be Black
because
Widow.
Obviously Captain America was in the motorcycle scene.
Yeah,
instead of Black Widow, like who made that choice? Like why was that why was that bad, terrible choice made? And like, what are you telling people? That didn't even happen in a movie, but we're gonna sell it to people this way because we think girls don't buy action figures.
I think this turned around because they did something kind of genius. Mattel capitalized on the popularity of. They also own, I think, Monster High, and so what they did was with the same style of like the size of the figure, cloth goods for the costume, and like kind of the more larger head because it's kind of like animated style.
Yeah,
they were like, how do we make girls like superheroes? Well, there's so many cool superhero girls, and that's what the line is called, DC's Superhero Girls.
I bought all of Wave 1 for my niece,
and I was thinking of you the other day because I was in Toys R Us walking around, and they just released Starfire, and she comes with like long red hair, and she has like a glowing like green fist.
Is it that's the superhero girl style?
It is like big like that. But they also have like different sizes and like they have props. You can get Wonder Woman's shield, and like I think that's really making them realize, hey, the girls are responding to these characters because they can see themselves in these female characters.
Which at first is really tough because when they had Bratz,
everyone's
like, ugh, Bratz.
They're a little like little trashy looking.
Yeah,
like,
but then somehow the Monster High dolls were like a blowout.
Because I think it's because I think people love Halloween. People love monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Little girls probably like monsters, but they're never really given that outlet to express that.
Niece Megan has like 20. When she was buying, she got older,
and they're very creative. These Monster High dolls are very creative.
And she knows to tell them all apart. Some are sister. She had at least like 26 of these Monster High dolls.
Yeah,
and now she's gotten older and like doesn't really play with dolls. And she's on YouTube and the internet a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But like I bought a few for her, and she knows them all. And so when DC Girls came out, I bought the set of those.
Yeah, and they probably scale perfectly, so they can. Like,
they scale pretty well, but like they're also shaped better.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Monster High dolls are very skinny and very slender.
Yeah.
Whereas like Wonder Woman has muscular arms.
She looks powerful. Yeah.
Even I mean it's a girl, but you know they're shaped more like real people, and they don't have like such skimpy clothes.
Yeah.
I think Batgirl actually has like science stuff in her. She has a backpack.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah. And they've tried to really diversify because they have Bumblebee from the Teen Titans and they have Katana. Like there was an exclusive from San Diego Comic-Con last year, a super deluxe Katana with like a shiny metal armor and shit. And,
that's too bad because it's only Katana. They could have had a better character from that.
I have a. I want to pose a question to you, gentlemen,
sure.
talking about the DC Girls line, because they're very popular, those figures. Someone I know had a dilemma last Christmas.
Okay.
Because they wanted to get their daughter one of the DC Girls figures, because they're really popular, they're really nice things.
I saw them at Walgreens. They have them stocked everywhere.
And her daughter is like 3 or 4 years old, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She recently discovered Harley Quinn. She likes Harley Quinn.
Okay.
She posed the question to me, is this appropriate for my daughter? Should I get my daughter a Harley Quinn figure? Like, is Harley Quinn something that
I think
someone that she could look up to, someone that she could see as like a strong.
I think so, and I'll
That's
explain...
like I was trying to be like, well, who's writing her?
I'll explain why I think so, because in the DC superhero girls narrative, they're all in this superhero high school where she is not evil; she's just sort of mischievous, and she's kind of like, I think girls would like her because she's like funny and like silly, but the way they've been, like Jimmy Palmiotti and like Amanda Connor, his wife or longtime old lady, they're a great team because they have written her, they have turned her into more of like an empowered, like not dependent on the Joker. In fact, she hates the Joker, I think, currently, where she's like recognized that was self-diagnosed because she is a psychiatrist, that was unhealthy. She might be still crazy a little bit, but like she's kind of an anti-hero. Like she's had adventures with Power Girl, but she's still the slapstick. Like just picture like that's a great comedy team because Power Girl's the straight man and Harley's the crazy funny one because there was like a cover I saw where she busts out of a closet in her own black and red superhero outfit with the cape, just like Power Girl with a little boob window,
right?
Like so she can be like she found out like Black Canary or someone was like pregnant,
and
like,
stopped fighting her,
and like brought her like a gift basket at the hospital, like,
and that's
so she's
I think like it was the same like writer or creative team who had her challenge Dr. Fate, and she's like, how many years of medical school did you go to, Dr. Fate?
It's like, I actually have a degree in psychiatric mental care, and
You mean Mr. Fate? Should we?
Yeah, should we call you like just Mr. Fate? And you can call me Dr. Quinzel. And you might. And I think if you are a small kid, you can be directed to age-appropriate Harley Quinn stories. Where she might be still a villain with the animated series, or she might be in school being just a silly clown, like a mischief maker. And then when you get older, you can probably move on to that if you still like that character. Because I think I am kind of ambivalent about her in the movie Suicide Squad, where like she looked so different, where it was kind of like. Yeah, she was the character portrayal was pretty spot on for Harley Quinn, but like that movie just was so like disjointed to me. Like if you just disregard it, it could be just, like, just funny, wisecracking villain girl, and not really Harley Quinn.
Right.
I could sum it up to when someone would ask, I can't think of her name now, Princess Leia.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. All right.
Like a parent asked Carrie Fisher, and they're like, "Why should I get a toy of you? What do I tell my daughter or my kids about you wearing this gold bikini?" And Carrie Fisher was like, "A guy made me wear it. I didn't want to wear it, so I killed him."
Yeah, she's like one of the OG like strong female characters because she's a badass.
And the story of Harley Quinn has had its evolution where it's like, yeah, she was a subservient, like, masochistic slave to Joker for a long time and he would just beat her. It was ridiculous.
Kind of like that screwball old school comedy of like the villain and his mall, basically. It's like MOLL, where it's like a gun mall of a gangster.
Yeah.
In the animated series, he was more of like he had flavors of gangster, like old school gangster. He had the Tommy gun and the wide brimmed hat and stuff like that. But you're saying,
but eventually Harley Quinn decided that's not what she wants, so she's gonna change it. She made the decision to be a stronger person and not take a shit anymore.
I could also argue that she's a positive representation of an LGBT character because I think she's bisexual currently, and she has had a relationship with Poison Ivy, and they're still very close. Whether that's represented in the superhero girls, probably not, because it's probably not even any romance involved. I don't think. Just adventures. But yeah, I'd say she's a fine character. To sum up your question,
she would be the most popular.
Yeah, she's super. Especially right now, she's like super popular. Very popular. But
in the scope of the other characters, I would rather push Batgirl,
right,
or something.
I personally like more. I would lean more toward like Wonder Woman. Or like if they made a cool Zatanna, and like I don't know, a rabbit comes out of her hat.
We know Batgirl does her homework.
She does. She's
right now. You study for school and you do your homework.
It's true.
I mean, being strong and powerful is cool too.
So it's just cool to see because I would like to think that the people producing these products are fans of these characters themselves, not just cold business people. Because you have these sculptors who are geeks, I assume. And who, because just from their Kickstarter, the Four Horsemen are super into medieval fantasy. Their Mythic Legions one, and so they're into comics. So it's their passion going into the things that they're making, and I think that connects also to the custom part of that, where like they're so passionate about a certain character that may not exist, and in that form, so they are using their skills to make one. So
and they'd want to get it right, and not just find a way to collect a paycheck.
Yeah,
hopefully. Whoever's listening to this right now is currently digging through boxes, trying to find their old action figures, all their old toys, so they can dig them out. I know, because I actually did some organizing last week, and I found like the Larfleeze figure we were talking about earlier, like
cool.
the Atrocitus figure from the same line, because they didn't display them when we moved, because moving is so great.
It's stressful. They say it's one of the most stressful things you can ever do.
Yep, found a bunch of my old figures, so I might go home and dig those out and take a peek at them.
So, I'll ask you, like, what are your favorites in your collection that you have on your shelf?
I mean,
we should go around and say which ones we have. I know we all have a lot.
As far as like figures go,
or collectibles, because there's also like it blurs the line between statue.
Right. Yeah. That's where my conundrum lies, in that Alex and I have talked about the Eric Scarecrow stuff in the past, like the vinyl figures. I have a couple of his, and
that's a whole nother thing,
a whole nother subculture. But my wife recently got one for me from his line, like one of my favorite figures that he makes that is like a replacement of one that had broken during our move. She got me like a new colorway, limited edition, like 1 of 10.
That's badass.
I definitely really like that. And then like as far as like action figures go, like I mentioned the one from Afro Samurai. I love that thing.
Yeah, so cool. Ridiculous with the giant
but giant in a
teddy
good bear
way.
head. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yep. I've actually debated taking that out of the packaging a bunch of times, and then I'll like Google it, and I'll be like, maybe I'll leave it in the packaging.
Yeah.
Not like I'm ever going to sell it, but you never know. But, like, I'm trying to think of what I have on display, because, like, I'm more of a statue, and I don't even have a lot of statues. I have a couple busts. Wow.
But, like, let's broaden it to collectibles, then. It doesn't have to be, because these are really, like, that could all fit in that category. Like, a lot of things, I have a Kid Robot 6-inch Bart Simpson as a zombie, and the spoon goes in his head. He's so great. And that I don't think would be marketed to kids, because it's more of it's a high-price item.
One that I've been watching since New York, Alex. Remember that Bugs Bunny we saw?
Oh, is he half
skeleton
anatomical? That's so cool.
I've been watching that on the website for, like, months now, and it keeps saying, like, check back.
I follow the guy who sculpts those on Instagram, and
because they do the fuck unicorn.
Yes,
like with the unicorn with the middle finger head.
And he's been doing. They released a bunch of superheroes.
Same website that I found it on. Okay. Every time I go to find that Bugs Bunny thing, I search "fuck unicorn," and then I get it from their website.
Because my Apocalypse ponies of the Apocalypse, do the fuck unicorn.
Right, and they had that Magnolia thing too, the monkey with 16. The gun. Huh?
16.
That's fantastic.
16.
That's how many times I've F-bombed on the show since we started.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey,
I've been keeping track.
Getting a phone call.
Okay.
Oh, they hung up. Don't know you. Anyways, but yeah, like as far as like collectibles, that's a tough call. But I'd say probably my Eric Scarecrow figures. I'm also a big fan of my Lego sets too. I have a lot of Star Wars Lego sets.
Whole new bag.
Yeah.
I mean, they're they're awesome.
We're already 20 minutes over, so we can't go that much deeper.
I don't think I have a favorite. I have too many different things that make
different genres of collectible.
Every single thing I feel has its own coolest thing about it, and that's what makes it my favorite. So I don't know if I could narrow it down. What you were saying about the glue on the packaging earlier?
Yeah.
For those little figures?
Yeah.
I remember trying to open up my G.I. Joes when I was young, and the glue was real heavy on those. And I would just shred the cardboard, which you can't do because on the back is the character card that says like who it is and
right.
What and like
the
their
stats,
their little bio,
their intelligence, their
and
strength.
Like, you have to keep the bio with the you can't just throw that out. It tells you who it is. And if you rip it too much, taking the blister packaging off, you're gonna mess up the card. So you got to be real careful with that. And you find one that pulls off real nicely, that's like a godsend. But most of them will just shred and just they're thin. That was tough.
Toys, am I right, fellas? Still have all my Street Sharks somewhere. I think my mom has them.
I have all my G.I. Joes.
I forced my mom. My mom almost threw out or donated rather all of our Ninja Turtles a couple years ago.
You fight her.
And I was like, you keep
Street
those.
Sharks are great. I saw someone on Instagram who's making a cosplay of the main blue Street Shark.
Right.
And it's like amazing. This costume is. I'll look it up for you later. It's amazing.
Was it Jossum?
I believe it was Jossum. Okay. It was freaking Jossum. But I actually was at that Wild Bill's place not too long ago, and they have, because he's pretty expensive, and he was in the packaging still. They did in the 90s the Ninja Turtles dressed up as some Universal monsters, and the most sought after one, I sent it to our friend Will, because it's like Donatello or something dressed up as the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh my god!
And they wanted $65 for him, which isn't too bad.
Yeah,
but he was probably like 8 when he came out.
Oh, toys! Still have the Technodrome kicking around somewhere, which I know goes for a pretty penny. Only it's like the shell of the Technodrome,
no
like
innards.
all of like the innards and like the eye on top.
Krang.
That would, all of that is missing.
Oh, I see, Alex. You're looking at that clay face I was mentioning.
Jared sent it to me.
Yeah,
and is that not neat?
That's awesome.
That's pretty bad.
All the other figures, like I really like the. They really nailed the John Romita Jr. aesthetic on that
style.
Two-Face.
Yeah, very neat.
Couple of them are like interesting looking. One of the Robins has a funny look on his face.
Oh, Black Robin or Damian Wayne Robin?
Damian Wayne, I think.
Oh, he has like
he's like snarling. It's weird.
Like he smelled something bad.
Anyways, we're definitely over on this one, but it was we were just having too much fun, you know.
Yeah.
John, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's a good time. I could talk about this kind of crap all day.
We're probably going to continue it after we stop. So just think about all the conversation you're missing out on by not being friends with us. Is that a good thing to say to the listeners?
You know,
are you
I
caught
like
up in toys?
Who?
That's the Black Mercy.
But it's just the Black Mercy. I was like, who does it come with?
It comes with Martian Manhunter.
That's weird.
Maybe there's an episode of Supergirl where it's like a thing.
It is on Supergirl.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the TV show.
All right.
Martian
so I like to think that I'm friends with all of our listeners.
Bam. Yeah. There it is. John, thanks for coming on. Super
Thank you
fun.
for having me.
It's been a real laugh.
It's very on.
It's been 1 week. This is fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it again next week. Yeah.
All right.
Next week when I get my Nintendo Switch on Friday.
Nice.
Because I'm the asshole who paid extra for release day delivery. So
very nice.
And did I mention that once I'm out of work on Friday, I'm on vacation for a week?
Ooh,
the day I
very
get my
good.
Switch.
That's fantastic.
So that was
I'm envious.
perfect.
Some time off would be nice.
Yep. First vacation at like the new job, so
cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool.
Anyways, so until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm their friend John. I don't know if you know me, but I sometimes come on the show.
This guy right here. And this has been episode 258. The what's the title of this episode going to be?
Limited Articulation.
I'm writing that down for later.
The Turbulent Toy Fair.
No, ARTICULATION ? Episode 258 of Opinions May Vary. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm still recording.
All right.
Now